Now, what if I told you there was an easy way to transform your physique by next summer that didn't involve you spending hours in the gym, tracking all of your food, or even doing a bunch of cardio? And that's what we're going over today. It doesn't matter if you are overweight or underweight. Doing these things will absolutely transform your physique by next summer. And then if you're already well trained, these principles will just help you spend less time doing what you already do. All right, first things first, let's go over the training. Real quick, if you want to lay out this program alongside me, hit the link in the description to get access to my free program designer. Okay, first things first, we want to do either 2 or 3 days a week. Start with 2 if you want, but try to move up to 3 if you can. You're probably going to get better results training 33% more. And then we want to hit our total body during each of these training sessions. So I would lay it out like this, prioritizing compound movements that'll hit our shoulders, chest, and lats, and then having some isolations for our abs, biceps, and shoulders. And then obviously we want to make sure we don't neglect our lower body, but with the goal of looking sick as possible in as little time as possible. This is where we're probably going to want to spend our energy. For movement selection on our presses, I'm mostly going to be going with close grip incline presses with the equipment of your choice. So, and then for rows, I'm going to be choosing rowing variations that keep our elbows tucked, pulling closer to our body. And then if it's a bar, dumbbell, or machine, pulling it lower on my chest to hit more lat. And then for pull down, same thing. I'm choosing variations that pull our elbows down to our side, not as much wide grip or flared out work for this. And then for both of the pulling variations, you can consider neutral grip or underhand grip to get more bicep involvement in those movements. And then for your bicep isolations, just pick your favorite curls. For delt isolation, it's going to be mostly lateral raise variations or upright row variations. And then your abs are going to be crunch variations and then leg raises. And this isn't the only way to lay this out. This is just an example for how I would do it. Just notice we keep all of our presses together, we keep all of our pulls and our pulling isolations together, and then we keep our leg movements together. But yeah, like I said, not the only way to do this. This is just one way that you can do it. Okay, here's how I go about adequate nutrition as lazily as possible. Obviously, in a perfect world, you'd have around 4 meals a day centered around a whole food, lean protein source with whole grains, fruits, vegetables, and then healthy fat sources for every meal. And I still think that those foods should be most of your diet, but obviously we're trying to figure out the laziest way to do this. And when you're lazy, we need to make sure we don't fall off the wagon. So how do we do that? That's basically just making sure we have some easy fallback options that we can use to like scrape together a high quality meal when we don't feel like having something that's super high quality. This means having lean protein sources that are super easy to make, easy to eat, some complex and simple carbohydrates so we can just throw together with some healthy fats. These are obviously just examples, but if you just take your plate or whatever you're doing and make it mostly these lean proteins, then some carbs, and then just like a handful of nuts or whatever healthy fat source you're choosing, just be careful with these. You could easily eat like 1,000 calories of nuts in like 5 minutes, and that'll just blow up your entire day. But yeah, and then just log your body weight in the morning, and then obviously you can adjust your meal sizes is as needed to get to your goal. And this obviously is going to be less accurate than tracking all your stuff and weighing all your food. But going from what you were doing before, which could have been nothing, to this will do a lot for a lot of people. Okay, now in a perfect world for your physique, you just would never go out or have any fun, but that's just not real life. So let's figure out how we can maximize eating slash going out for our goals. So for food, we need to minimize eating Taco Bell hammered at 3 a.m. For food, when we're eating out like at restaurants and stuff, basically you just need to pick the most lean protein thing on the menu. And then when it comes to fry or sides, you don't get fries, you don't get fountain drinks with any calories in it. And then usually you can get like a side salad or something. You get low cal dressing or dressing on the side. That's like, if you do these 2 or 3 things, you will minimize like 90% of the possible bad outcomes of going out while trying to transform your physique. And then for drinking, here's the physique optimized game plan for drinking. You just don't do it. But obviously, that's no fun. So here's what you do instead in real life. If we go back to our program here and you train 3 days a week, you can see up here in this top right corner, we have 2 days off. Ideally, you drink on this first day off. But the basic thing is we want to drink as far away from training as like, so we train, take as long as possible, and then drink, but we also want to drink as early in the day as possible so it doesn't interfere with our sleep. And then now this part is pretty non-negotiable, but basically you just rip tequila sodas or vodka sodas, basically any drink where the alcohol is the only calories. And then once we do drink, we just have to make sure that we don't shovel 3,000 calories of Taco Bell or any carbs or fats into our mouths at 3 a.m. because we're not sleeping, which isn't good for our goals. And then also our body's going to store more fat than normal because it's trying to get rid of the poison that you just ingested. So more nutrients are going to be shuttled straight to storage and not used for energy. All right, and just like that, in a couple of minutes, you have a few things that will do a ton for you in terms of changing your physique by next summer without really putting in too much effort, just a few tweaks here or there to whatever you're doing now. Or if you're not doing any of this stuff, just making it as easy as possible to get started. Check out this video on the screen next, and also hit the link in the description to get access to my free program design tool.